I guess both, like the pre-work before you even meet the person
Yeah.
in terms of what realistically they should be looking for. And then in the date or multiple dates, what are some right questions to ask if you're a good fit or not?
Well, I think an important call out here, and one of the problems with why dating is so challenging today, is that dating apps cater to short term relationships. What you can assess on a dating app tells you whether or not this person would be good in the short term, not whether they would be good in the long term. So sometimes we get lucky, and I'm not saying dating apps are evil or like they can't lead to long term connections. They can, but I would also argue that's oftentimes because you got lucky, not because you were able to tell this person actually had good long term potential with what you saw on the dating app. And that's why so many great connections are missed on dating apps because, okay, just because this person doesn't photograph well, just because they don't have the ability to write a funny hook for their bio or say something silly, or because they're not persistent and swiping at the right hours of the day to get in front of you, to happen to get in front of you, doesn't mean that they wouldn't be a great long-term partner for you. Which is so, like, when people are relying solely on dating apps, it's a huge crapshoot about whether or not you're actually going to have success or find somebody who you are realistically compatible with. And so that's, I think, just like an important call out about short versus long term. Because when you're thinking about what makes a good long term partner, it depends a little bit on your goals of, what kind of relationship you want, like what stage of life you're at. But most of us want to be with somebody who is honest, with somebody who is caring, with somebody who is empathetic, with somebody who can provide, even that if like that's like a man looking at a woman, okay, can she provide a happy home? Can she provide as a mother to children if that's what I'm looking for? How to decipher those things, you have to have time. Like there's no, even, as a matchmaker, like we get to know women and men more deeply. It's like we're basically getting to know both parties on like a 3rd to 5 date level by having like asking the tough questions or like the things that a date might not be able to ask. But we still don't actually know. And I think any matchmaker who says like otherwise would be being dishonest. We're able to understand, okay, do values match? Like, do they give indications that they would be a committed partner, that they would be honest based on some questions? But ultimately, all of those things are proven over time, because also how somebody acts in any given relationship is unique to that relationship. So yes, you can look at the past, and I do believe the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior, but there's also so many elements that go into any one relationship. So it has to be a lived experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen plenty of people that have changed drastically just to be able to be in that relationship, and then they both evolve over time and they become different people. So it is too quick to judge, I feel, just based on their past history. And I think people dismiss people off too soon. You even said this, I think, in the last episode that we did, where you want to give someone a second date if you're kind of in that middle area.
Yeah.
And you don't want to dismiss people off too soon on that first date. Is that right?
Yeah, I fully believe that. I think if you enjoyed meeting this person, if you had interesting conversations, whether or not there was that spark, like going back to that desire or romance component, take the second date. Because like I said, that grows over time, especially for women.
Yeah. Do you think most people have too strict of a criteria then?
I do oftentimes think that people like top of funnel before going on a date do. Some people hold themselves back by having too strict of criteria, where in my experience, some of the best matches happen on the edges of a client's stated criteria. So finding a partner is not like ordering a pizza. You don't just get exactly what you want with half like this and half like this and this a little bit spicy and extra cheese over here. Like, and that's not what a matchmaker can provide either. But, if you hate a red sauce pizza and you only like white sauce, like, okay, we can directionally like accommodate that, But I think by having really, really narrow criteria, in dating generally, you hold yourself back from potentially great connections. Okay, you want somebody who wants to have kids, like that's a reasonable criteria to have. But you want somebody who went to an Ivy League school. Like, why do you actually need that? Because is it because you want somebody intelligent? Okay, well, there are a lot of other metrics for intelligent besides just where you graduated from college. And usually things like, okay, they need to be this tall, or they need to, like, very specifically, or like, okay, again, like taller than me. Okay, I can get behind that. But he has to be exactly this height. Like, that doesn't have any bearing on whether or not this is going to be a successful relationship or a good partner. And that's more of you thinking with your ego. I had a call the other day with a woman who had put on her intake that she wanted marriage and kids. She's 40. She's 5'1". And so we have a client who is in his early 40s. He's open to dating up to 40. He's 5'6". This woman hears about him. She's like, oh, he sounds great. Okay, by the way, he's also 5'6", but you're 5'1", so he's still got 5 inches on you.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, no, I have to have at least 5'9".
That's so crazy.
And I'm like, girl, I wonder why you're single.
oh my
Like,
God.
you don't even want to take a first date with this man
Yeah.
who we just told you is wonderful and smart and intelligent. I guess it's smart and, going to be a great father and looking.
Not even the first date.
No, she didn't even want to see his photo.
What?
Insanity.
What is this obsession with height? Is it an evolutionary thing, or
No,
do you think
I
it's
truly
learned? Like,
so that's what I mean. I think like wanting someone who's taller than you, I can like, okay, I'm a tall girl. I'm 5'10" almost. I understand that. Like, as a woman, you like want to feel like smaller. You want to feel like a protector.
you're also tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so I get someone taller than you. Okay, I can work with that. But like, I think the obsession with height, like I talked about earlier, I think is really driven by social media and ego. Because there's not like another reason. You can have your preferences, but to have them be deal breakers, like so strongly that you wouldn't even take a date with someone who has been vetted and vouched for is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's almost this. It could be its own status thing. I was looking at research that Instagram put out quite late after they knew about this, and it's called the middle rung effect, which is that social media is obviously terrible for mental health in general, but they said it's not necessarily these top celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, or what's a female version of that?
Anne Hathaway or
Anne
Sydney
Hathaway,
Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney, sure. It's not them that affects a lot of the mental health because they just feel so out of reach. They're just not
Yeah.
even in the world that most people live in.
Yeah.
So the middle rung effect is kind of this in between, which is people that are not your close friends because they support you, hopefully, but more of the acquaintances, people that maybe you know through friends of a friend, but they're still in your Instagram follower list. So you're seeing them and you feel more relatable to them. Like you feel they're closer within your world of scope. So when you see them losing weight, making more money, it feels like you're missing out. Whereas you would never feel that with
Yes.
a billionaire or wherever that you've never met. And it's probably similar in the psychology of that as well, where if a friend of yours is dating a guy that's 5'10" or 5'11", that probably affects you because now you're going to potentially hang out in a party, go together, and then you're with a guy that's 5'6", who's 5 inches taller than you, but is maybe shorter than your other friend. So it's like this status symboling thing, I feel, all around social media.
But I even think like the idea of caring that your friend's boyfriend is taller than your boyfriend never even would have been on the forefront of most people's minds if social media hadn't put it in your mind that height was so important.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think in the 80s, like, I guarantee, with having no statistical backing to my statement I'm about to make,
Guarantee it.
but I guarantee it, that people were not as obsessed with height. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah. Not to the level of
That they are now.
Yeah, like a strict criteria, no matter what your height is.
Yeah.
Right. Like taller than makes sense.
Yeah.
What are some of those other things that we now care about in society because of social media that probably has no evolutionary reason for us to care about? Like
Well, I
looks,
think,
yeah.
I mean, this has evolutionary reason, but I think it's become very extreme, is just like beauty in general. And I see that with men all the time. It's like I can put a very beautiful but like normal woman in front of them and they're like, like I'm just not that attracted to her. And I'm like, she's on your level. Like, but what, and that is because like this is what social media has played in. It's like, okay, you used to like, let's say you live in your town, you had access to like that one really hot girl in your town. There's like one of her, you know, and everyone else is like, looks more normal. Now every hot girl from every town across the entire world has a platform on Instagram, and that's whose content you're being served on Instagram, and that's who you're seeing, and that's who Instagram is putting in front of you if that's, they know what you like. So this goes back to what I said before. You have this illusion that you have access to those people and that's who you should be with because there's so many of them. And so why shouldn't I have a girlfriend that looks like that? It's like, first of all, there's not that many people that look like that. They just all happen to be on Instagram. Second of all, especially with AI now, she doesn't even look like that. Like she is, like maybe she doesn't even exist.
Right.
Like she's AI.
Yes.
So I think it's like totally messing with people's perception of like what they have access to and what is realistic based on like, okay, like you can be an amazing guy, but still like who you have access to is limited by who's in your social circle. And as a matchmaker, like I can get in front of that a little bit, you know, like how I like to explain it is as a matchmaker, I can get you with like the top end of who you would ever realistically be able to attract. But I can do that without you having to spend time on it. So the type of guys who hire me for matchmaking aren't guys who typically have trouble attracting women. They're guys who don't want to spend the time and energy on dating apps, going to events, like putting themselves out there to meet women. But I can't make somebody who's never going to be interested in you because you're on totally different like planets socially interested in you.
Yeah, and you don't even want that, right? Because eventually the woman or the man, whether it's commonality, eventually they're going to lose interest, right? You don't want to really play that game, I feel. But this makes me think about where this is going to go next with AI, where it is pretty scary with the popularity of like AI girlfriends.
Yeah.
Who not only look perfect, but they're telling you exactly what you want to hear.